it's Betsy from Cuttin Corners Vinyl in Nederland, Texas, and today we have a fun tutorial. I'm going to show you how to create this SVG that says, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. So I'm going to show you how to make this from scratch, everything except for the hand-drawn globe part. You can either draw it out yourself, because I have shown you how to draw, not really draw things out, or you can download a free earth silhouette. They have them all over the place. But anyways, how to create the outlines, how to weld together colors, all kinds of things. We did this in Corel Draw. Now remember, if you don't have Corel Draw and you're a Patreon, if you're a $4 or more a month patron, you do get access to these files that I am creating. But I also wanted to remind you that we do have a sale going on our website right now. All of our regular Oracal 651 adhesive is on sale for $1.75. They're normally $2.50 a sheet. That sale does end Sunday, the, 22nd? But remember, if times are tough for you, because for a lot of people they are right now, it does not hurt my feelings if you cannot purchase. There are other ways to support. Just watch videos and things like that and support whatever local small business you can. I did use Thermoflex Plus Black, Tiffany Blue, and Green Apple. And then I used the Glitterflex Ultra in the Rainbow White. Now if you'll give me a moment to change the camera angle, I will show you how we made this. Okie dokie. So as you can see here, I have Corel Draw open. I have my tabloid size page in the background, which you can use whatever size you want, but we are creating the front of a shirt. And this tutorial mainly is to learn how to create the SVG. So the first thing I want to go ahead and do is I want to import in my hand-drawn earth. So I'm going to go up here to Quick Access and select my earth and import it in. Okay, now I'm going to shrink this down to 10 inches. There we go. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to trace the bitmap. And I'm going to do detailed logo, reduce bitmap. And this is turning it from a JPEG into a vector image. Okie dokie. So as you can see, that is what our earth looks like. Okay. Delete original because I don't need the original on there anymore. Select OK. Okay, so now what I want to go ahead and do is I want to ungroup all objects because we're going to go ahead and add our color to it. So we'll use this bright blue because I'm going to use Tiffany Blue HTV for it. There we go. And then I'm going to select the white pieces so that way I can color the land portions of the earth. Shift key so that way I can select multiple objects. And you can tell if they're selected whenever you click on it. You'll see a tiny little square pop up. And if you zoom in, you can see it more. So now I have them all selected and I'm going to just do the lime green. Okay. So that looks good. Now I'm going to select it all again. Go to Object, Group. Because I want it to be together so that way when I move other pieces in and around it, it's going to be easier to line up. Okay. So now I want to add some text around the earth. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out a circle. And I'm going to make my circle 10 inches, unlock it, by 10 inches. See, that is a perfect circle. Our earth is a little bit off, but not bad. Okay, so now I'm going to type out my text and what it's going to say in a world where you can be anything, is what it's going to say around the outside. So now I'm going to go ahead and just use my select tool right there. And I'm going to go up here and choose the font. And I'm going to use Century Gothic Regular for what's going to go around the outside. So let's go ahead and we're going to make this, because we have a 10-inch circle, so typically making this 30 inches. Gotta lock that back in to keep aspect ratio. As you notice, whenever I had the aspect ratio unlocked, when I change it, it does not do nice things. So now we have it where it's 30 inches. And I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to add any periods or anything like that. So to make it where my text curves around the circle, I'm going to grab my line of text and my circle, and I'm going to go up here to text and select fit text to path. So as you can see, that added the text to our path. So it looks pretty good. And you can play with it if you want to make it bigger. You can make it smaller. You can play with how it's lined up. So this is something that I like. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is go over here to Object, Convert to Curves, select that circle, and delete it. So now my text is one piece. And we're going to take and select our text and our earth and go up here to Object, Align, Align to center of the page. So as you can see, that makes it where it lines up with our earth. Now, one thing I do for my text portion, because I don't like that the letters are overlapping onto the earth, I want to make that a little bit bigger. So we're going to go ahead and change that to 12.5. Let's change it a little bit more. 12.7. Little bit more. There we go. Now, one thing about it is if you look closely at it, even though this is centered, it doesn't look centered because on this side of the text, there's nothing that comes close to the earth. So one thing I do want to do is I want to select that text because the G is still really close even though the Y isn't. And I want to just scoot it down just a hair by using my arrow key. So there you go. Now I like the spacing on that. Now we're going to add the center portion of our text. We're going to type out our words. Be kind. So as you can see, it says, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. I love that quote. I don't know who said it, but I do love that quote. So now what I want to do is I want to select my text, and let's find a text that I like. I do like that, but I think I want something a little different. I still want something, oh, I like that. So we're going to use ballpark. Okay, so now what I want to go ahead and do is I want to ungroup, or actually go up here to Object, Break Artistic Ballpark apart, so that way I can play with how it lines up. So see, I like how that looks where it's kind of close together. We are going to go ahead and add an outline to this. We want it to be a rather large outline on it. Behind Fill, Scale with Object. And as you see, that looks kind of funky. So what we're going to go ahead and do is change our fill color from black to white. Because one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the text on top in glitter white and then have the black outline. So I think I want my outline to be a little bit bolder than that. So let's go ahead and go back to our outline. And we're going to go ahead and see what it looks like at 16 points. Okay, so I like that. Everything looks nice and smooth. So now what I want to go ahead and do is select everything, and we want to go ahead and convert outline to an object. Now what I want to do is I want to show you how this looks so I can show you what we're going to do. We're going to do some cleanup. If you look at this in wireframe, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, and we really don't want that. But to kind of, we want that back. Go to View, Normal. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and group this. And then what I want to do is I want to go ahead and align my object centered to the page. Okay? But I want to make this bigger. I want to make it where it's bigger in the center of the earth. And see, part of design work is playing with designs and seeing what you like. Because something that I like may not be the same thing that you like. So that's centered on there, but I think I want to move it up a hair. Okay, so see, I like how that looks. Now, I need to simplify this so that way I don't have so many overlapping lines. But to do that, it can take some time. So I'm going to show you a trick that I use to help make things go faster. So I selected the whole design, and I'm going to convert this to a bitmap. I'm using 300 dpi and paletted 8-bit. So that's less color, so it's easier to trace. So as you can see, that's what it looks like now. Now I'm going to go to Trace Bitmap, Detailed Logo, just like I did before. Reduce Bitmap. Oh, did I not select everything? I don't think I selected everything. It's okay though. The text on the outside really doesn't matter as much as the text on the inside. Okay, so I really like how that is all done. Okie dokie. That looks good. Select OK. Okay, perfect. Now, I love how that looks, but one of the things I want to do, because these black lines are a little thin, is I want to go ahead and ungroup all objects, okay? And we want to select the black outline on all the objects. So we have to zoom in so we can make sure we're grabbing it all. See how when I grab it, it adds that little, hold on. Okay. Let's select black. See, we don't want the blue piece. We want the black. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and weld that together. And you can see what isn't welded. See how when I grab those, they're not part of the group. So let's undo that. And now we got to grab the little black pieces, because as I said, we should be able to have all of the rest. See how all the rest of that is one piece besides the center of the B. Moving this out of the way actually makes it a little bit easier to see what we still need to grab. So the two little islands in the center of the B. Okay, let's undo that. Okay. Zoom back in. Now we're going to hold down the Shift key. We're going to select the center of the B, the black, and the rest of the black. And now click Weld. Okay, so as you can see, I can move that out of the way. We still have one more little piece in the center of the B. Okay, let's try that one more time. Sometimes when you're not zoomed in, the little stuff is hard to grab. Okay, let's see if that did it. Perfect. So now you can see all the black is one piece. So when I move it out of the way, all that you see there is the green, the white, and the blue. So let's move that back in place. Now, one thing I want to do is, because since I'm overlapping it and these lines are a little thin, I want to take and give this a little bit of an outline. So that way the black's going to go on first. And that way, if my vinyl shrinks or stretches, you won't be able to see it because it'll have a slight overlap. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is add a 2-point outline behind fill, scale with object. Okay? So now we'll go back to view so that way you can see whenever I add a outline, you see how it added extra to it. Okay, let's go back to regular. Okay, let's go ahead and make that just a little bit wider. We're going to make it 3 points. Okay, so now what we want to go ahead and do is I want to go ahead and convert outline to object. And now I want to go ahead and grab the pointer tool and select the black. All parts of the black. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's go to view, wireframe. That'll make it a little bit easier. Okay, so we want to grab all 3 of these lines. And weld. Let's make sure that did what we want it to. Go back to normal. Nope, wrong color. This part can be a little bit tedious. So what we may do, I have an idea. Let's select it all. Copy. Paste. Set that to the side. Now on this one, we're going to go ahead and delete all of the other colors other than the black. Undo. And this part is actually important if you're wanting to have some overlap. And I know this is tedious, but if you're wanting to create a professionally done, professionally designed item, this is the best way to do it. So now I'm going to select all that, and we're going to go ahead and weld. Change it back to black. Oh, I missed something. The center. Okay, now I'm going to select all that. Weld. Perfect. Now I want to go ahead and select this object. We're going to go ahead and group it. And we're going to select everything. Object, align, center to the page. Okie dokie. Now, we're going to go ahead and ungroup everything. Now this part's actually easier. So, since I'm wanting to delete all the black that's not welded together, if I take and just kind of go like this, and not overlap, see, we don't want to overlap our blue. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Let's move that. There we go. Object, align. Let me grab this. Object, align, center to the page. Now our SVG is created. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and select everything. And I'm going to go ahead and File, Export. And we're going to save this as Be Kind. Now remember, even if you don't have Corel and you don't want to learn how to do this, you don't have to, because this file will be uploaded to Patreon. So for my $4 or more a month patrons, you do get access to this. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Upload. Upload image. This is Cricut Design Space. There we go. Scroll down, select our Be Kind folder, or our Be Kind file. That's what she looks like. Click Save. Select our image. Insert image. Now, we should only have to do a couple of little changes. One thing we got to do is change the size of this down. We're going to make her 10 inches. Okay. Now we want to go ahead and ungroup, and we're going to select all of our blue pieces, which it looks like there's a lot, but there's really not, and we're going to go ahead and weld. And I think this is a great shirt or great sign in general to make right now, because everybody could stand to remember this. Okay, we're welding all of our blue pieces together. Now we're going to do the same thing with our green. And I like to weld things together. I don't want to have to piece pieces. And I like to have it where it's easier to cut. Which that's all up to y'all on personal preference. But again, I would rather waste a little bit of vinyl and have it easier to line up than not. So now we're going to do the same thing with our white. And there we go. Oh, go back. I missed my E. So let's select all of our white and weld. Okay. Now we can go to make it. Okay. So we need to mirror this, since I am making this in HTV. But again, this would make an adorable sign too. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to click Continue. And Everyday Iron On. And now I'm going to cut the file. Now, if you'll give me a moment, I'll change the camera angle to show you how to make this. So I've already went and cut everything, so now I'm going to weed it, which I've weeded some of it. I weeded the Tiffany blue and the rainbow white glitter. Look how pretty that is. But I'm going to weed the green and the black on camera. I know some of you like to watch me weed. I know others don't. And one thing I wanted to let y'all know is the online store and the store in Nederland will stay open unless they tell us it's mandatory to close down. We want to keep our employees working. So just to let y'all know. And this week we do have our Oracal 651 on sale. Now, I don't want people to feel obligated to buy from us. I know how stressful things are for everybody. But if you have it and you want to support a small business, please feel free to support us. And then we also have Patreon and things like that, which is another way to support us. But, you know, it is what it is. There we go. So there's our green layer, and we have our blue layer. Now the hard one is the black layer because it's got the most going on, because it has all the text and all the outlines. It's really not that difficult. It's more so it's difficult because it's a curved text, so it's not like a smooth row of text to weed. You got to kind of, it's much different than you're used to doing. But yeah, we're going good. We're doing it. We're keeping up with it. We start with the boys Monday for homebound learning. But we're doing okay. Stressed, but I don't think anybody right now is not stressed. Everybody's doing things that they never thought they were. Being a parent, you never knew you were going to be a teacher. Which I've always had the utmost respect for teachers. I've been involved in PTA for many years. So I have watched classrooms full of kids and things like that. And it's difficult. Now I can't imagine trying to teach 37-year-olds. I couldn't even imagine trying to teach a 37-year-old. Well, I guess I do. But some parts I'm okay with. Some parts I'm like, ooh. 8th grade math or 7th grade math seems to be, when Cameron's asked me for help, that is one thing I don't get. And it sounds funny because I own a business, but Nadia's boyfriend is an accounting major, so he helps him out a lot. Thank goodness. But a lot of things have changed. How they're supposed to work out problems and stuff like that. Like, I'm not one to show my work. I can do basic math, a lot of basic math in my head. Multiplication, division, that kind of thing. But I think I make more mistakes having to show work. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that one. Okay, I'm gonna sit down. But yeah. Just keep on keeping on, and I think that's everybody right now at this point. But I figured, hey, if y'all are at home and you want to learn more, we're going to work on some more artwork stuff. That's why I did this. Now, this is a hand-drawn earth. You can draw one. They're not that difficult. I'd scanned it in before, but it's not super hard. I mean, as you can see, it's lines. And typically when we draw stuff out, if you've seen, like when I show y'all the papers, they're white art sheets or white copy paper, and we draw it out and then trace over it in Sharpie, because Sharpie lines are going to be the easiest thing to trace out. But it all kind of depends on what you're comfortable doing. I'm sure you can find a earth to use if you did not want to hand draw it yourself. And as I said, if you are a Patreon supporter, you do get access to this. And I know I'm weeding it upside down, but it's right side up for me, so, you know, I need to see what I'm doing. And I'm tired. That's one thing about it. It's like, last night I slept pretty good. The night before last, I did not. I dreamt Jeremy was hoarding food from us, which would be something that Jeremy would never do. So me dreaming about it I fear more about food shortages than him actually doing it. So, anyways. We started a puzzle today. I bought on Valentine's Day. Me and Jeremy, when we went out for Valentine's Day, I went to Barnes & Noble because he wanted to get some graphic novels. And I saw a Disney puzzle. It's a 1,500 piece villains puzzle. And I was like, let's get that. That'll be fun to put together. And, well, we're starting it. We've almost got the edges done, me and the boys. But we're leaving it out on the table so we can work on it whenever, because keeping boredom at bay during this is hard. And like today, it hasn't started raining yet, but it's been threatening to rain all day. So there we go. So now it's all weeded. And I know a lot of you like it when I use my regular heat press, but for filming purposes, using my easy press is the best way for me to go. So now I'm going to take and lay out my 15 by 24 inch Steady Betty. I had laying around my office a gray V-neck from Target, $6. I don't know if you can order online, but if you can, this is one of the Goodfellow & Co.'s. I like the way that they fit and I like the material they're made out of. So just laying it out centered on my board. I'm going to grab my t-shirt guide, line it up. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my black. We're going to fold it in half. There we go. Give ourselves a notch. And since this is a V-neck, I like to go a little bit closer on a V-neck, so about 2 fingers down a lot of times, rather than the 3, since a V-neck does go lower. So now what I'm going to do, cover up with my Teflon sheet. Yes, I know, Cricut, you're beeping at me. We're going to go in and do this in halves. But we don't need to go for the full 15 seconds. We just need it pressed on well enough because we're going to be repressing over the whole thing several times. So pretty much we just want it to be tacked on. It doesn't have to be perfect because, as I said again, we will be reheating this. And when you don't heat it too much in the beginning, it does help with things being stuck. Now I do see that I have a little flurby mess up right there. So what I'm going to do is take my scissors. A piece of my weave got stuck in there. Should have double checked, but I didn't. Yep. There. I will recut that T and stick it back on. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and layer our other colors on. And you can start with any color that you want to at this point. It doesn't have to be green, blue. You just got to make sure you fit them in to their spots. Now, as you can see how much easier that is to line up with that extra outline being there. So actually, I'm going to cut this apart. Okay. There we go. And if you do have any issues with anything stretching and not wanting to line up perfectly, with the way this is done, you can cut your pieces apart to make sure things fit. There we go. But again, this helps with gaps when you add that extra outline around it. Because that is a question I get all the time. How do you solve that gap issue? And again, this is the easiest way. Okay. Oop. Got to heat that just a little bit more. And yes, heating with the heat press when you're doing this is much easier than with the easy press. I mean, I don't find an issue with the easy press. It's just, it is easier, faster with a regular heat press. Okay. Okay, there we go. Hot, hot, hot. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and do our blue layer. I'm going to save our white layer for last. There we go. Okay. Okay, we're going to separate this out. For some reason, this is not wanting to agree with me today. And you know, y'all know, I do this all the freaking time. But y'all know as well as I do, some days it's like, oh, you want to cooperate? Okay. Next time, not so much. And I probably overheated the green in between too, because whenever you overheat it, it makes it a problem to line up. Okay. Okay. Looks good. Okay. We're going to cut this again. Now don't worry if you have to cut pieces like this, because the good thing about HTV is it melts back together. And working in smaller sections definitely will help make things line up easier. But that's part of the reason why, and I like to show y'all, you know, if there's a mistake made, what the mistake is, so y'all will know how to fix it. So let's go ahead and heat these pieces. There we go. See, and you can't tell where I've pieced those pieces in. And last but not least, there we go. Last piece of blue. Sorry if you can hear my dogs barking in the background. No telling what Belle was barking at today. Okay. Now, our last piece, our white glitter. Okay. We're gonna have to separate the word be and kind. And see, that's what a lot of people, you don't get told whenever you're doing multiple layers of stuff, how difficult it can be. Because if things stretch in between, if you add too much heat or anything like that, it can mess you up. So we're just gonna go again for a couple of seconds to tack this down. We always wanna tack because part of the thing is, one, we don't wanna overheat. Two, we're gonna go back and reheat it all together. There we go. Let's cover that up. And we're gonna reheat it. I'll fix the messed up letter and then I'll show you what it looks like all done. There we go. Look how good that looks. Now give me a moment to change the camera angle and we will go over everything we just did. So hopefully you liked this video. If you do, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon next to it, that will notify you when I post new videos, which is right now, because of everything that's going on, almost every single day. And I'm probably gonna continue making more content because we all need the distraction. Sometimes it's live, sometimes it's recorded. But I guess that's it, so we shall see you probably tomorrow.